How fair is your pension plan? There are billions of surplus dollars in funds around the country. Is that money working for you or your company? The Pension Cookie Jar, Tuesday.
In the news, a massive manhunt underway for a prison escapee who was armed and very dangerous. The search continues for the car that caused that tragic crash yesterday. The victims have been identified. Medical Waste closes 30 beaches in New Jersey at the height of the vacation season. Also tonight, will we see Elvis in our mailboxes? I'm Colleen Marshall. Newswatch 4 Columbus is next.
I'll offer you all these pluses. Get a new bank.
If you are 1 in 14 Americans who can't put mental illness out of their minds, let the Alliance for the Mentally Ill of Franklin County help you and your family. Call 365-9196.
Doug, Mona, Angela, Jimmy, and Jim are on WCMH Television, Columbus, Ohio. Newswatch 4 with Colleen Marshall and Dave Christopher is next.
Good evening. Police here in Columbus, as well as deputies in Franklin, Madison, and Union counties on alert tonight and searching for an armed prison escapee. 36-year-old Michael Cardine, who was from Marysville, was serving time for kidnapping, armed robbery, and drug possession. He escaped this evening from the London Correctional Institute. Cardine is described as being 5 feet 11 inches tall. He has a muscular build, weighs about 220 pounds, has brown eyes and hair. He was wearing a blue prison uniform when he escaped in a white prison van. It has Ohio state plates, license number S-13220. There were reports that a van matching that description was seen near Mechanicsburg this evening. Cardine is armed with a semi-automatic rifle and at least one handgun. And the search is still on tonight for the car that is believed to be responsible for that fiery car crash yesterday that claimed 3 lives. 38-year-old Anita Whitman of Upper Arlington, her 8-year-old daughter Jessica, and 5-year-old Meredith all died. They were southbound on 315 when a white late-model Toyota reportedly pulled in front of them. The Whitman car lost control and burst into flames after it was struck by a tractor-trailer. Investigators say they have definite leads. A number of witnesses have given descriptions and license plate numbers for the car that is believed to have caused that crash. Just 1 week after speaking in support of Vice Presidential candidate Lloyd Bentsen at the Democratic Convention, former Congresswoman Barbara Jordan was found floating unconscious in her backyard swimming pool today. Jordan is said to be improving tonight in an Austin, Texas hospital. Doctors say she suffered an apparent heart attack. Jordan has used a wheelchair for years. She suffers from a progressive nerve disease similar to multiple sclerosis. And a 10-month-old baby is in critical condition tonight at Children's Hospital after nearly drowning in the bathtub at her home. Little Candace Merchant of the Canopy Place Apartments on the city's west side was apparently submerged in water for 5 minutes. Paramedics did revive her at the scene and then rushed her to Children's Hospital. There have been 158 drownings in the state already this year. Drownings are the leading cause of accidental deaths in the country. And health reporter Kathy Starling says a new study shows most water accidents happen in pools and bathtubs, not lakes, rivers, or streams.
The only relief from the drought is splashing in the water, and where there's water, there's danger. Drowning is one of the leading causes of accidental death. Nationwide, most drownings occur in fresh water. But a recent study in the Journal of the American Medical Association says about half of all drownings in Los Angeles are in private pools, 5 times the national average.
We thought that we might be finding a lot of ocean drownings, and instead we found a lot of swimming pool drownings in a county that for years has had legislation requiring protective barriers around swimming pools.
Drownings can occur at any age, but toddlers run the greatest risk.
The child gets left unattended for a brief period of time and can't really maintain themselves.
Basic prevention methods like parent supervision is a must. Barriers should be around the entire pool with locks and alert devices. Joy Joseph has all of this at her pool, but insists on more.
And whatever I can do, whether it means listening to the baby scream in the pool while he's taking a lesson, knowing that he's going to come out of it, knowing how to swim.
Swimming lessons are meant to reinforce safety rather than replace a parent's watchful eye, because there's always the chance that a child might fall or bump their head, resulting in a tragic accident. Kathy Starling, Newswatch 4 Columbus.
Research also shows that drowning rates among the elderly are similar to toddlers in bathtubs and pools. Illness or grogginess from medication are reasons, and family members should take precautions. Well, it's being called the worst summer of ocean pollution in the history of the state of New Jersey. And today, 2 environmental groups staged a protest. Among other things, dead rats, raw sewage, and medical waste is washing ashore. 30 beaches have been closed entirely because of the medical debris. It's believed vials of blood, syringes, and hospital equipment was dumped in the New York harbor sometime last month. A $10,000 reward is being offered tonight for information leading to the arrest of the person responsible for a South Dakota forest fire. So far, 3,000 residents have been forced to flee their homes. 15 houses and 33 other buildings have been destroyed entirely. At one point, the fire was thought to be under control, but high winds gave new energy to the dying flames. We may soon know the final words of the 7 shuttle crew members who died when the Challenger exploded and caught fire in midair. A 3-judge panel has ruled the tapes from the shuttle must be released under the Freedom of Information Act. NASA had argued that releasing the tapes would invade the privacy of the families of the astronauts killed in the 1986 disaster. It will probably be another 2 months before a new president is hired at the Columbus Area Chamber of Commerce. John Christie's last day was yesterday, and the search is on for his successor. Christie and Jim Pickett, chairman of the Chamber Board, are Jim Schroeder's guests tomorrow on News Conference 4. Christie had this to say about community development and politicians.
But politics for the sake of hype can sometimes set a community back. I think sometimes we have individuals get out front on an issue to get a headline, and then there's a tremendous amount of work to catch up with that headline. And I think for a time there, we got out of hand as a community with politicians trying to upstage politicians.
The entire half-hour show can be seen tomorrow at noon right here on Channel 4. Well, it looks like more and more children are battling the bulge. A new study by the American Journal of Diseases of Children indicates that obesity has increased 54% among children ages 6 to 11. Among those between 12 and 17, it's up 39%. While overeating is one cause, many doctors believe heredity plays a major factor as well.
Unfortunately, we used to think that perhaps that infant feeding might have a role. A lot of data, I think, does not suggest that. I think it's genetically as well as environmentally influenced, probably more than anything. So parents who have that in their history, certainly their children are at a greater risk. Certainly those children should be screened for glucose problems, should be screened for cholesterol problems.
And children aren't the only ones tipping the scales. A study also shows that 34 million Americans are overweight. That's about 1/4 of the population. Well, will Elvis Presley soon be turning up in our mailboxes? The answer to that question when we come back. And also, Peter Nero puts on a lively show at Picnic with the Pops.
This is Newswatch 4. Tonight's news with Colleen Marshall and Dave Christopher. Sports with Douglas Ells. And exclusive weather forecasts with Ben Gilbert. Newswatch 4 continues after these messages.
He has received 10 Grammy nominations, sold 1 million copies of his album, The Summer of '42, and is said to be the premier interpreter of George Gershwin. And tonight, Peter Nero on stage here in Columbus at Picnic with the Pops. Nero plays, conducts, composes, and arranges, and tonight he definitely entertained. The Picnic with the Pops series will end next Saturday, at least for this summer. Collectible relics of the past are on display this weekend in Dublin. More than 40 antique dealers from all over the Midwest have brought their wares to Dublin High School for display and sale. An estimated $1 million worth of antique furniture, art, silver, and glassware are being offered to collectors this weekend. Antiques can be a costly investment. Auctioneer Mike Brandley says close inspection can help ensure you get what you pay for.
Two basic things people can look for. One is if it's worn or wear has taken place, because obviously that's a hard thing to imitate. If somebody's making something now and it doesn't look worn at all, or if they're trying to make it now and trying to imitate something, the wear is the hardest thing to imitate. As well, you look for imperfection, quite honestly, because back 100 or 150 years ago, they didn't have the technology to make it as they do now.
Brantley also says that on pottery, art, or glassware, look to see if it's dated, signed, or carries an identifying mark of its maker. One of Elvis Presley's biggest songs was Return to Sender. Letters that are return to senders may soon have an Elvis image on them. That's if the Postal Committee can decide what picture of Elvis to use on a new stamp. Ken Vest has more from Washington.
He will live in their hearts forever, but ardent Elvis fans want more. They won't rest until rock's biggest star shines from a postage stamp. The Postal Committee, which decides such things, may approve it in 2 months.
It means simply that Elvis will be discussed seriously at the September meeting.
For true blue suede shoe fans like Betty Lou Watts, it can't come soon enough.
We've been constantly writing to the Postal Service, you know, and we keep our letters coming.
And they've been coming like gangbusters. Elvis gets more backing than any other public figure. But there is some controversy.
You know I can be found sitting home all alone.
Which Elvis goes on the stamp? The young and wiry dynamo we remember as the king, or the chubby crooner just before he died? The post office will only hint.
One thing we would do if we were doing a stamp, I'm sure, is we would want to make the stamp as attractive as possible.
As for those live sightings of Elvis that the tabloids have been pushing...
And our rule says he has to be dead at least 10 years, but we do accept the fact that Elvis is dead.
And don't ask fans like Betty Lou about the Elvis is alive craze.
It's sad, you know, that they have to do this. I just thank God every night that I don't have to stoop that low to use a man, you know, that is resting in peace as making money off of him.
Administer the anesthetic.
If all of this sounds a bit silly to you, stay tuned. The post office is also very close to giving the nod to a Three Stooges stamp. Ken Vest, Newswatch 4, Washington.
Well, there may be some strong storms in the area in the coming week. Ben Gelber will tell us when to expect them when he joins us next.
Las Vegas.
On Monday's PM Magazine, see how a little facelift has brought new life to America's fun capital.
Then was the death of Princess Grace an accident or murder? This former intelligence officer says it was all a setup by the mafia.
Find out the truth Monday on PM Magazine, 7:30 on Channel 4.
PMN2. We had a downpour at the station late this afternoon. Very brief, though. I guess that's why these are so hard to predict this time of year.
Right, and sometimes you get a big area of storms in which some places get trace amounts. The airport only had a couple of hundredths, and then other places get 1.5 inches of rain. And believe it or not, we may get a few more thunderstorms tonight. We'll show you those on radar. Now, earlier today, Newswatch 4 photographer Saul Brown saw this towering thunderhead from Cooper Stadium this evening, southeast of Columbus, along the back edge of one of those lines of heavy storms. This line passed through Pickaway and Ross counties before reaching Lancaster and Logan with heavy rain and lots of lightning this evening. 73 degrees right now. It's sticky outside. Humidity 85%. Very little breeze compared to the 25-mile-an-hour winds we had during the afternoon out of the southwest. Barometer rising. Our high today 89. Our low this morning 71. Here's what radar looks like. First of all, nationally, some very strong thunderstorms from northern Illinois through northern Ohio into northern New England. These storms have been producing 50 to 70-mile-an-hour winds in different places and more than 1 inch of rain. The storm line has been sinking south ahead of a weak cold front that will be dropping south. Also strong storms in the southeast. Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina had about 2 inches of rain today. Some damaging wind reports in Georgia and even back in Nevada. See showers extend all the way back into California. But lots of dry air off to the northwest. That means we're in for a hot, dry week coming up. Now, you can see the thunderstorms this afternoon. We had light rain here in Columbus, stronger storms in northeast Ohio. Then a batch moved across Fairfield and Hocking counties during the evening hours with heavy rain. But here comes the next line of storms. The other activity was moving east. This area is moving south ahead of the cold front and producing some very heavy rains. Fort Wayne had 1.5 inches of rain in Indiana during the evening hours in about an hour. The leading edge from around Bellefontaine and Marion over to Worcester, moving to the southeast at about 30 miles an hour. And around Bowling Green, there was some wind damage. A barn was destroyed, so the Weather Service will check that out tomorrow. May have been a small tornado. If it is, that will be the first that we've seen in Ohio this year. You can see the thick white cloud band on satellite. Again, this is all ahead of a cold front, yet it's clearing now in northwest Ohio and northern Indiana, and there'll be lots of sunshine for us tomorrow because it's clear to the west. Here's how it looks on national satellite. The Bermuda high keeping the east clear and hot, but then the front comes from the north, and some moisture moves along the front, and you can see the squall line coming into northwest Ohio, and numerous thunder showers with the addition of moisture. There have been heavy rain in the Plain States during the past several days, and that met up with the front tonight. And once that front sags south tomorrow, it will be slightly cooler and slightly less humid, but it won't last long because once that high clips on to the east, the heat and humidity will be building back this week, and it's going to be a very hot week coming up. High temperatures today, records and near records at Philadelphia, New York, 98, 93, way up at Portland, Maine, 98 at Bismarck, North Dakota, from Montana and Wyoming all the way down to Texas. Some places were topping 100, so even though we were slightly cooler now, it is going to get hot again during the week. Now, tomorrow, we'll get a brief respite from the heat. We'll still be in the mid to upper 80s, the 90s from Cincinnati south and west, but that heat will be moving back in starting on Monday when we go back into the 90s. So we have to get used to that. A slightly cooler day tomorrow behind the front. Storms will be well to our south and west. This front won't get here, just the hot, dry air. And the outlook for the week, the jet stream moves back north. That means hot, dry air builds to the north and blocks the cool air. So it's going to be the way it was during the first half of July. Here's your forecast. Another view of that thunderhead, the cumulonimbus, earlier this evening, and there are a few more coming down from the north. Gusty thunderstorms, which are now moving into northern Delaware and Union counties with some very heavy rains, will move through our area in a couple of hours. Low of 67. They shouldn't last too long, probably an hour, but there can be some bright lightning, might keep you up a bit. Then for Sunday, lots of sun, less humid in the afternoon, about 88 degrees after some early morning clouds and fog burn off. And then guess what? Back to where we were in early July to start off the month of August with, I guess, state fair weather, hot, humid, 91 to 95.
All these days in the 90s. Thanks, Ben. Well, the high school pigskin in the air tonight at the annual All-Star Game, and the pros were also in action today. Cincinnati in the Hall of Fame game. Cabot Ray joins us next. The Hyatt on Capitol Square rolled out the red carpet tonight to pay tribute to Olympic athletes past and present. Four-time diving gold medalist Pat McCormick, mother of former Ohio State diver and '84 silver medalist Kelly McCormick, just one honored at a dinner that concluded the Olympic Legends Weekend. Earlier today, the athletes had presented free exhibitions in various Olympic sports. Tonight's dinner was co-emceed by Channel 4's Jimmy Crum and Doug Lascelles. U.S. athletes and Kroger's sponsored the event with proceeds going to the United States Olympic team. And it's already, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, time for football.
It is your favorite time of the year, Colleen. And
I won't see my husband now for the next 3 or 4 months.
3 or 4?
Well, 5 or 6.
6, 7.
It's half the year now, isn't it?
Yeah, but they won't get serious for another month or so, so tell Gary to take the next month off and
okay.
Spend some time with the family. Let's get to sports. The stadium lights were on at Groveport High School tonight, but not for baseball, for football. 5th Annual Ohio All-Star Game gave local football fans a final glimpse at last year's high school stars. This game provided plenty of entertainment. Beechcroft's Ron Page will pass down the sideline to Eric Shepard of Gahanna. The play covers 71 yards. Scarlet up 7-0 at 6:35 in the first quarter. But a minute later, the Gray will come right back. Jack Elgin of DeSales goes up top, 44 yards to Mike Farmer, Franklin Heights, and the 5'4" Scatbat takes it in. The score is tied at 7. Still, in the first quarter, Ohio State bound Brent Johnson of Bexley with a great second effort. Look at this, from 3 yards in, 13-7 Scarlet. On the next play, Dave Philibin of Beechcroft on a naked fake gets a 2-point PAT, and it's 15-7 Scarlet, 22-7 lead at half by the Scarlet, but the Gray comes back to nip the Scarlet tonight, 23-22. While the best high schoolers in Central Ohio did battle tonight, 4 of the best to ever play professional football were honored today at the Pro Football Hall of Fame up in Canton. Former Raider wide receiver Fred Bolitnikoff, Chicago Bear tight end Mike Ditka, linebacker Jack Ham of the Steelers, and defensive end Alan Page became official residents of the hall. It was then on to Fawcett Stadium where the Bengals and the Rams dusted off the game unis. The Bengals take the lead in the second quarter when backup quarterback Turk Schonert, Goofy Games participant, rolls out, dives in at 7-0 Cincinnati at half. Third quarter, David Fulcher with his second swipe from the Rams' Hugh Millen, then gets them to their feet, weaving 43 yards down to the Los Angeles 4-yard line. Schonert then on the next play with nice touch, lays it in there to rookie Ira Hillary, and it's 14-0 Bengals. Bengal rookie Solomon Wilcott made an impact with coaches and LA's Willie Anderson. Pow! The Bengals move on to a 14-7 win. The Columbus Clippers still in the hunt, entertain third-place Toledo tonight, trying to keep pace with first-place Rochester. Billy Bean here with the BB shot, bouncing up the middle, scores former Indian George Vukovic. Toledo led 2-0 after an inning. The Clippers' Turner Ward will cut that lead in half in the second, singling in Bobby Green. Columbus then ties it at 2 in the fourth inning when Alvaro Espinoza singles up the middle, plating Wayne Winchicki. He comes in there. The Clippers go on to nip the Mud Hens tonight 4-3. Big series in New York this weekend between number 1 and 2 in the NL East. Mets hosting the Pirates. Howard Johnson wheels on Brian Fisher, and the ball is a souvenir. It's 1-0 New York. Mets pitcher Bill Harrison here will relate grooming tips in the bullpen. Sixth inning, Kevin Elster with the single to left field. That scores Johnson ahead of the throw, and the Mets shut out Pittsburgh for a second straight night. They win it tonight 3-0. Major League Baseball today, Cincinnati, San Diego. That is in the fourth inning, no score. Astros moved to within 3.5 games of the Dodgers with the win. Atlanta loses to San Francisco 2-1. Will Clark's double in the bottom of the 8th wins it for the Giants. The Mets there with that shutout drops Pittsburgh to 4 back in the NL East. Steve Bedrosian earns his 20th save of the year. Quite a year for that man. Philadelphia over Chicago 3-2, and Montreal nips St. Louis. In the American League, Minnesota doubles up on Cleveland. That game was called in 7 innings. Detroit over Texas. The Yankees 2 better than Toronto. Winfield hits his 20th homer of the year. Boston over Milwaukee. Boston has won 19 straight at home. Kansas City 8-5 over Baltimore in the 8th inning. Oakland leads Seattle by 2 in the 4th. And California nips Chicago in a tight one, 15-14.
Okay, thanks a lot. Stay with us. Was it a theft or a kidnapping? The victim is probably somewhere talking.
The ultimate saving sale at Schottenstein's.
Do it all at Kings Island. Woo! How we're gonna play whirl away. See what's new, tried and true.
Ride new Amazon Falls, the world's most exciting drop of water. Save up to $5 per person with Kings Island coupons from Kroger. Go Krogering and pick up your discount coupons today.
You know we're gonna fly, touch the sky, have a blast. Do it fast, hey, do it all. Come on, come on, come on. At Kings Island, do it all, do it all.
A theft to tell you about in Jasper, Alabama. No one is talking except maybe the victim. An Amazon parrot named Arthur was stolen from the front porch of his owner, Sidney Hicks. Hicks has 200 parrots, but he says Arthur is the smartest and most talented. He can talk and sing, and he has one talent that may help him be recovered if some neighbor is attentive. He can whistle the theme from the Andy Griffith Show. Can't we all? Thanks for being with us. We'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
For the second year in a row, United Press International has recognized Newswatch 4 Columbus for having the best feature story in the state of Ohio.
Saturday Night Live.